It is June 24th, 2024, and this is the review on Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. I would say I overall enjoyed it. It was a different flavor of fantasy. It wasn't Faithful and the Fallen, it wasn't Wheel of Time, it wasn't Lord of the Rings, in which the cliche, Lord of the Rings set the cliche in a lot of ways, but it's young, farm boy leaves the pastoral setting and goes off into the wide world of adventure. And then that's when the plot starts. You get hit face first with the plot and the big world, and that's when the world building comes in and all this, right? This differed in that the kid was thrown into a whole new world of, Buckkeep, the castle, and they're like 6 years old or 5 years old or something when it starts. And you go painfully, it felt in the beginning, from that young age all the way up to, who knows, like 16, 15, something like that. And that is from all the way from the beginning to the end, and little things happen throughout, and sometimes big things, and you get stumbles and falls and the typical teenager doing teenager things. You don't feel too much that it's the Ender Wiggin, it's an adult who's 7, right? You don't feel that way, which is nice. So it felt realistic that way. The kid felt realistic, the person felt realistic, which was good, but it got tedious because of that also. Like, especially in the beginning when they're setting things up, things just felt like they were moving so slowly, maybe realistically slowly, but very slowly. And that, who knows, that might pay off later. But when I was reading it, that first like 30% or something was such a slog for me, and I didn't really care very much. And I really I had just not invested in it, maybe the character, yet. I might just be jaded or something and done to death with teenager stories, even kid stories, right? Where the kid is an apprentice, or, becomes from the beginning to jump into this world, or even just whatever, is a protege, this, that, and the other. Kind of, the cliche is there, the trope is there, and maybe I'm jaded by it. Maybe I should switch it up a bit. But I'm not really attached too much to Fitz. But who I am attached to are all his animal companions who keep dying. All of them. You had, was it Nosy or something? And that dog, we thought died early, which was crushing. And then we figured out, oh, it was alive. But then at the end, it died as well. That was crushing. And then Smithy, which was crushing. So, like, no animal companion is safe at all in this story, especially ones that are with Fitz. Like, at all. Those were crushing. Like, you can easily get, it's cheap drama and easy audience, like, sympathy with a character if, they like dogs, especially if it's like a dog that we see is hurting or dying, then we care. And I did. I was super sad. But other than that, the characters felt real, but I didn't care for any of them, at all. Nothing made me say, I like this dude. Maybe Burrick. I like Burrick a bit, but his reasoning for disliking the, whatever you call it, the wit or something like that, is when you can talk or communicate with animals or whatever, the animal companion thing. That is apparently like a no-no, and you become a beast if you do it too long. Kind of like Perrin in Wheel of Time. There was that guy in the second book, maybe, where we see the, like, Perrin, if he went too bestial, right, and they just lose their humanity. That's kind of what Burrick was saying would happen to Fitz if he kept doing it. But we don't, unlike Wheel of Time, we're not given that visual. And so we're kind of taking Burke at his word, but we don't have any visual of it. So every time he's like unfairly treating Fitz in our eyes. It doesn't seem fair, which is probably on purpose, as we're seeing we're seeing through Fitz's eyes, and a lot of unfair stuff happens, and not a lot of good things happen to him throughout either. Not many good feel-good moments. Yeah, but maybe Burek might be the only one I kind of liked, but that was just, he was a stalwart dude. Overall, the prose were really good. There were a lot of really banger lines in there. It didn't feel like a Brandon Sanderson or a John Gwynne, where it was almost like a movie, like played in your head. It was so clear, like a prose, and concise. This was clear, not as clear, more flowery, and not as concise, hence, flowery. And it was maybe a better written book because of it, in the word choice and the grammatical ways it was used, but it was less of an enjoyable experience. It wasn't a breeze. It was a struggle sometimes. But I understood everything. It was good. I learned some new words, as I do with some of these books. So that was good. Again, 30% of it was a pretty big slog. The rest of it was a good book. And at no point in this was like, this is great, this is a good scene, this is a great character. None of that. It was all just meh, slog to good. Yeah. The ending I didn't see coming, so that was good. But overall, I would rate this book, and I do these, by the way, now without ever seeing anyone else's reviews, so I'm not tainted. All I know is people really like these books, so maybe they get better. I'll probably read more of them, but I would give it 7.5. 7.5 out of 10. 7.5 out of 10. Ranger's Apprentice. Who knows? I'll probably read the second one at some point just to get through this. It's like almost a rite of passage, like Wheel of Time, right? At this point. So I'll knock it out. But until then, on to the next book.